Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to Be the Man with the Nature Boy, Mr. Ric Flair. Rick, how are you, man?
Good, man. Great weekend with you and the guys. Wonderful time. Nice day in the boat. Wonderful.
It was a home run weekend. We had a lot of fun. Can't wait for you guys to see some of the things we've been working on. But in case you've been living under a rock, it's time that you catch up. Ric Flair's wrestling his very last match, and it's happening in Nashville SummerSlam weekend. We're doing the roast of Ric Flair to get things kicked off on Friday, July 29th. We'll have a Horseman reunion on July 30th, which of course is a Saturday right before SummerSlam. And on Sunday, well, it's about that time. The Nature Boy is going to walk that aisle one last time, Sunday, July 31st. All the details are at RicFlairsLastMatch.com. If you want to come meet Rick and get your picture made with Rick, or pick up the brand new action figure, the first ever Jim Crockett Promotions action figure, you can do all of that at starcast.com. That's STARRCAST.com. But there you see it, officially licensed by Jim Crockett Promotions, wearing his retirement robe. And we just got actual photos from the factory, Rick. Originally we had like a hand painted prototype and made you look a little wonky, maybe like you'd had a night out with the Horsemen. But boy, that final figure is looking fantastic. Can't wait for you to see it in person.
All right. I'm very excited myself, obviously.
Well, let's jump into it. We promised you guys last week that we were going to throw you the keys to the show. We're going to do a little Ask Ric Anything. We got so many questions. Let's see if we can get to several today. Adam Arpin wants to know, Rick, let's say JJ Dillon wasn't available to manage the Horsemen back in the day, excluding the easy choice of Bobby Heenan. Who do you feel could have worked best in that role?
Cornette.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's hard to beat, man. And I've heard rumors over the years that maybe there was an idea of what if, when maybe Arn and Tully left, what if not the rock and roll, but the Midnights just slid right in? Do you think that could have worked?
I don't remember hearing that, but absolutely would. I don't, it's hard to say anybody could replace Tully and Arn, but certainly Bobby and Dennis, they were great, equally great. So the answer to that is yes. We just would have missed Arn's interview.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah, Arn's interview so important.
I love JJ's interviews, but I think Jim Cornette would have probably been an upgrade. He's second to none on the mic.
Absolutely.
But you're right. Arn had a way of putting an exclamation point. Yep. Sometimes you would be pretty flamboyant and over the top, but Arn could bring it down to, I'm going to kick your ass. And that's what made it so special.
Me flamboyant over the top? No.
Imagine that. Hey, so you and I never really talked about the Midnight Express, but did you have a preference? I know you're great close personal friends with Stan Lane and had a hand in him getting in the business in the first place, but were you a Stan guy or a Dennis guy? Which version of the Express did you prefer?
Oh, it's hard to, I like them both very much, but it's hard to beat Dennis Condrey.
Yeah.
I just think because they were together for a long time, but Stan came in and filled his shoes well, and Stan did great. And I did help him break in. It's a funny story. I was at the Hilton Hotel in Myrtle Beach with Ashley and Reed's soon to be, or a year in several years to be mother. And I was trying to get her drunk in the morning, ordering Bloody Marys. And the guy opened the door, and the guy goes, "Shit, are you Ric Flair?" I said, "Yeah, man." And I think Beth had a bathing suit on. She looked really great. And she walked in and said, "Nature Boy's in the house, man." And he goes, so then later on in the day, he came up to me at the pool and said, "God, I'd like to get into wrestling." And then when I got back to Charlotte, he started coming down. We'd train in my garage. I always had a home gym. So home gyms were always my thing long before COVID.
Was Stan Lane really like the first and only guy that you helped train from the very beginning?
No, Bill Irwin or Scott Irwin. And then of course, Gary Ports.
Okay.
Yeah. Not in the ring ever, but I mean, just the 500 free squats, the shit, the hard shit.
The Verne shit. You put him through the Verne shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Michael McClanahan says, who is one modern day wrestler you believe would have excelled in the territory system, and who is one wrestler from the territories you believe would have translated well to a modern day audience?
Wow.
A modern day wrestler who could have worked in the territory system, that feels like, maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like we've seen a guy like Moxley go out and do that because he's been working independent shots and he seems to enjoy that and be
Yeah.
fun. And you've spent some time at the bar with him. Maybe he would have dug that.
Yeah, absolutely. John absolutely would have loved that. He's a rugged guy and he doesn't mind hanging out all night long. Either does his wife, as I got detained off a flight in Boston after hanging out with him all night. And, we drank Bloody Marys at the bar in the hill till 4:00 in the morning and went to the airport at 5 for a 7:00 flight. TSA was not my friend. Oh God. But yeah, John Moxley. I think Roman would have could have handled
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Any of the guys that have family, I would venture to say Randy could have done it very easily. I think anybody that grew up second generation or third generation like Randy, they knew how tough it was an incredibly tough and insensitive life, but boy, we had fun.
Is there one wrestler from back then who would have worked really well today? Modern wrestling.
Me.
I was going to say Bruiser Brody. It feels like he was such a figure and such a character.
Oh yeah, well, he was. These guys today, that's nothing. Bruiser did what he wanted to do. He did not read promos. He did not. He didn't talk about what's going to go on in the ring. That was his agenda. Then man, could he kick ass? And he was an intimidating guy. He liked me. I'm very fortunate, but make no mistake, he did well in Japan because he didn't have to take any orders. But every territory he worked in, he didn't stay around long. I don't think he was ever in WWE.
Yeah, I don't think that would have, even if he was, I don't think that would have lasted very long.
No.
You know, but by the time we asked for these questions, I don't think it had actually happened yet. So Conrad from Huntsville wants to know, what'd you think of Cody wrestling with a torn pec? It caused a little bit of a debate online, but I thought it was an incredible performance that people will be talking about for a long, long time.
Absolutely. And he made he made Seth Rollins last night more than Seth ever has since he's been in the company. So it didn't hurt Seth at all to lose, knowing that they were going to do this Monday night. You know, they had to have a plan. I just hope that with that pec surgery, he could be out 3-4 months with that. So I'm assuming he's going to have surgery, right?
Yeah, as I hear, I think he's going to have surgery on Thursday.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to text him. I was watching last night and thinking, man, you know, it was a lot. I think it was great of Seth to put him over like he did the 2 times, but knowing what they did last night, I mean, Seth's fresh, you know, he's got a great, I mean, he put a lot of heat on himself last night. The most I've ever seen him put on himself, and all because of Cody.
were you surprised that, you know, there's been a trilogy of matches now. Cody beat Seth at WrestleMania. He beat him at WrestleMania Backlash.
Mm.
Now he beat him at the main event of Hell in a Cell. In the Hell in a Cell with essentially one arm. I think conventional wrestling booking, wink, wink, would say.
Well, let me tell you, but let me throw something back at you right away. I'm sorry to answer a question earlier. Cody Rhodes could have wrestled back in the 70s and 80s too.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Well, that's what I wanted to get to. Like, I think conventional old school thinking would be if you got a guy who's going to have to leave for surgery, he doesn't win. Now, clearly, Seth, quote unquote, got his heat back on Monday with a phenomenal angle. I thought that was well done.
But
more
than he's ever had.
What a statement that the company made by having Cody pick up the win, even though he's injured. And I freestyled in my podcast with Tony Schiavone. I wonder how much of that is because WWE certainly is positioning Cody to be a top guy and they want him to be a top guy. But I think a lot of folks are probably taking a wait and see approach. Like, well, we'll wait and see what WWE really does with Cody. We got our answer when he beat Seth Rollins with one arm, didn't we?
Yeah. I mean, they're going to make Cody's going to be a champion sooner or later.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm sure that they'll figure out a way to get that championship off of where Roman has both of them, get one of them off him. Now, I think the company functions better with two champions anyway.
If you were playing Booker, I think a lot of people assumed, well, Cody's probably going to win the Money in the Bank, and then he'll have an opportunity to win the belt that way. Of course, now it feels like, well, he's definitely out because he's having surgery on Thursday. So since he's going to miss that opportunity, and I don't think he'd be back in time for SummerSlam.
No.
Do people naturally start looking to the Royal Rumble? Do you think if you were booking it, you would have Cody win the Rumble?
Absolutely.
Okay.
If that's the time frame. Those things are very delicate. That tissue in there takes a long time to heal, and you can't rush it. You know what I mean? You've got to actually follow the doctor's orders. I'm sure he's had it done in Birmingham, and those guys know what they're doing. Anybody who was associated with Dr. Andrews will. But you've just got to really, I know guys that have gone down there and stayed in Birmingham for a period of time. Hunter, especially when he tore his quads, and that, just because you need the best of care. It's not like you just go to the gym and start doing thigh extensions or bench presses or something like that. Again, you need to be really micromanaged to heal from injuries like that.
I think a lot of people have drawn a lot of parallels between Hunter and Cody, and clearly we saw the pedigree in the match. And then, of course, I think a lot of people remember what Triple H looked like when he tore his pec over in Saudi Arabia. But the parallel of getting hurt during the summer, as you just said, once upon a time, Triple H tore his quad, makes the big return in time to win the Royal Rumble, and then comes back and wins the world title at WrestleMania. That's the way you would book Cody again. Let's just do it again. Cody comes back at Royal Rumble, wins it at WrestleMania.
Yeah, unless somebody comes along that's so miraculously, first of all, it's hard to determine what they're going to do because there's so many with both companies right now, moving parts. But if looking at it from today, not knowing any more than I do as of this moment, that's what I would do with Cody. Yes.
Let's go to Keith Taylor's question. He wants to know, did Ric have to pay Verne Gagne a percentage since Verne trained him?
I did, but I was supposed to. But when I got when I was leaving Minneapolis, I asked Verne and my dad. Well, Verne first for $400 to go down there to North Carolina, and he said, "No, you're going to do it on your own." So I asked my dad, and my dad said, "No, you're going to do it on your own. I'm not spending my money watching you do something that's not going to be any good." So I went down there I gave Leslie $200, your wife's mother, and I gave actually, and I took $200. I went down there and I wrestled the first match that night against Abe Jacobs at the Charlotte Coliseum, and Crockett called me into the office the next day, and I said, "I need $2,000." He said, "What can I do?" He wrote me a check for $2,000. So I think I paid Verne for about 6 months, and then nobody knew I was doing that. And Crockett said, "Dude, what are you paying Verne Gagne?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Fuck that shit." Which is a funny way to look at it because I did owe him, but not for 10 years.
Right. Sure.
And 10% for 10 years would have been a lot of money. So I felt bad on one hand, but on the other hand, I thought, God, I made it, and I would rather write you a lump sum and all that, but I probably should have just kept paying him. But then it's the way it is in life. You look back and you say, I should have done this, I should have done that. But because I absolutely would have never. I didn't think as people, as I've told many people, I quit twice. That training was so intensely hard, and we weren't wrestling; it was just the conditioning. The wrestling was relatively easy. It was the conditioning and getting our ass beat up by Billy Robinson every day. Um, so that's a tough call. But anyway, that answer I paid her. I think maybe I paid it for a year, but that was it.
Well, we're going to pay some bills right now and tell you guys about LegacySubs.com. If you're a regular listener, you've probably heard us talk about LegacySubs.com, the professional grade nutrition supplements made right here in the USA that can help you reach whatever goals you have for your body, your health, your performance, or your well-being. And instead of another ad read, we wanted to share some verified reviews from Top Rated, an independent review site, so you can hear what legitimate customers think of the results they get from Legacy products. Like Jonathan had this to say, quote, I was skeptical at first, but after going through my second bottle of Recovery PM, I am a true convert. Even with the most strenuous workout days, I sleep and recover fully the next day. We'll continue to support these products going forward and look forward to anything new. Emmanuel says, amazing products and very fast shipping. Blake says, absolutely love the Legacy Test Stack. I feel like I have more drive and energy to power through my workouts. My sleep has also improved. So try Legacy out today at legacysubs.com. That's LEGACYSUPPS.com and join thousands of satisfied customers who've tried the best-selling testosterone booster Test X9, the best-selling sleep aid Recovery PM, or try their newest products like salted caramel protein. It's salted caramel premium whey protein, or NO2 Pro for the best pump you've ever had. And allegedly, it even gives you better performance south of the border, if you know what I mean. Don't forget to use promo code Flair, save 10% off your entire order, and help support this show. Level up with legacysubs.com. That's LEGACYSUPPS.com. The promo code Flair will save you 10%. Let's do another one here. This one's from Justin Hanna. Ricky wants to know any good stories about hanging out with Dale Earnhardt or any other NASCAR personalities?
Oh God, I used to hang out with a lot of Dale Jr. I knew Jeff very well. God, the two brothers from I don't get to see them much anymore. The two brothers from Emporia, Virginia. Oh God, the one was such a handsome guy, really nice people. The answer to that is I've hung around with a lot of NASCAR guys. The most fun being Dale Jr.
Wood Brothers Racing? Jeff
No,
Burton?
no. I know Jeff, of course. No, the brothers from Emporia, Virginia. They're great guys. I've been to Myrtle Beach and party with those guys. And Dale before he got married. It was a lot of fun. Everybody's calmed down but me.
Everybody but you. Oh, you're talking about Elliott Sadler.
Elliott Sadler, yeah. Elliott, god dang Sadler. Woo! Before he got married.
Big D WWE wants to know, according to IMDb, Jack Nicholson wanted to induct you into the WWE Hall of Fame. Any stories regarding this? Did you ever hear that? That Jack Nicholson?
I never heard that, but I would have loved it. I'm one of his biggest fans.
That would have
he just bought a place about a mile from Wendy's in Rosemary Beach.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, very cool. I would have liked that. Because it's hard to say because Hunter did such a great job. It's kind of funny. I watched the guy from Star Trek induct Jerry Lawler,
William Shatner,
and I watched Sylvester Stallone induct Hulk, and it's hard unless they really watch the business to be outside of it and do the induction justice.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
and Hunter, of course, knew my whole career. Grew up. Just he grew up. I was like, he was a big fan of mine. That makes sense.
Yeah,
much like Sean. So I think that the induction process is better if for everybody if it's done by someone that legitimately cares about you and legitimately knows your career inside and out. the good and the bad.
Well said. RJ Krasinski wants to know, Rick, what was the best venue in regards to the venue itself and the fans that you wrestled in that people may not think was a great venue?
Greensboro, Virginia. Greensboro, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Greensboro, North Carolina was that venue. 16,000 people. It was insane. I mean, Chicago is phenomenal. St. Louis is phenomenal, but for me in North Carolina, Greensboro was insanity. Of course, it doesn't have the name recognition. It's not that big a city, but boy, you talk about a wrestling city, unbelievable. Greensboro was Crockett to Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, no doubt.
And everybody came through there. I mean, everybody. The Funks, the Briscoes, Johnny Valentine. I know that the Johnny Valentine tribute for the United States title championship. All those guys came, just paying tribute to John. And man, what a party we had afterwards. I got to tell you a funny story. So we're at the Holiday Inn, and Klondike Bill and Paul Jones were walking out of the party, and there was some two guys, they smacked around Klondike and smacked around Paul Jones, and then the guy apparently said to Paul Jones, "Where are the rest of these phony wrestlers?" Wow. And some girls sitting there in that room right there. Now think about this: in the room, Harley, Slater, Dusty, both the Funks, Murdoch. They walk into that room, and brother, they get an awakening. Let's just say that they went in the hospital, and we were asked to leave the hotel. They both went out in ambulance. Yeah, definitely.
Well, bad day for them. Good day for you.
Who wants to walk into that group?
No.
So I've seen people do it stupid enough. Call out Dick Slater or Harley. Here's Harley. What did you say? As the left is coming over the top of the smoke. And then the head up with a broken nose. Wow. Yeah, it was incredible. The old days were a special time.
A little different.
Yeah, just slightly.
William Sterling Jr. has more of a statement for you than a question. My oldest just graduated high school. I said, kid, you only graduate high school once, so feel free to strut that ass like your name is Ric Flair. And upon receiving his diploma, he did the Ric Flair strut across the stage like I did in 1998. Thank you for giving us something iconic. 24 years between my graduation and his, and the strut remains timeless. If you could give Tyson a shout out for graduating high school, it would make his month. Rick, thank you for a lifetime of memories. What a nice message.
Tyson, you're getting a shout out from the nature boy. It's a profile and never be afraid to strut. The women love it. 24/7. And by the way, grab your girlfriend and make her go woo all night long.
Chip Maxey says, Rick, if you decided to stay in the AWA and not go in the JCP, where do you think your career would have ended up? That's a great question, because it does feel like Vince essentially borrowed most of that talent to kick off the WWF. Do you think you would have wound up working in the WWF first for Vince?
No, because everything changed. Here's my life. Going down there, I think, was the best thing that ever happened to me, because I was around. Then they made me grow. That makes sense. I had Wahoo, and Wahoo was like my mentor. Dusty was gone. Murdoch. I just going south was what made my business, and really what made my business, what made me who I eventually became, was the airplane crash. And I wouldn't have had occasion to fly in a small plane back then in Minneapolis. And I was so green, guys. I mean, green. And I've got Stevens and Bockwinkel and all these guys ahead of me, Bobby Heenan. I'm just lucky that I had such a nice friendship with them. Most young guys you know, you know, you want to be with them so bad, but they don't accept you because it's not normal. But they all accepted me, and that was part of the key to my success. They all liked me, and um, I'm just happy for the opportunity to have started for Vern. Like I said, was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. You couldn't have told me that when I was getting my ass kicked every day, but going down and meeting the Crockett's and all that was really where I found my footing.
Let's jump into this next one here from Nick. He says, how happy are you for your daughter Ashley after her wedding? From all the pictures through social media, it looks like it was a special day for her.
Well, as your wife will attest to, it's the most beautiful wedding I've ever seen, and that's hard to say after being at you and me Megan's wedding, which was incredible too. If for nothing else, the backdrop of her home and everything was just beautiful on top of the mountain. But that damn thing in Mexico was over the top. It was absolutely the most beautiful wedding I've ever seen.
It looked incredible. The pictures online were just something else, man. And of course, my daughter was graduating high school the exact same day, so I missed it. And I told Ashley, I don't think she thought that was as funny as I did. So,
yeah, yeah, oh, probably not.
Maybe I'll get back in her good graces one day.
I don't joke about anything with her.
No,
no, that.
Trevor, by the way, I didn't say that in person because I don't want to get figure eighted or whatever.
If you think she kicked Becky Lynch's ass,
oh, I know. I'm begging for it, right?
yeah. It does like she does to me verbally.
Trevor Owen says, ever think under the right circumstances, you and Tully could have had a good feud? Great talkers and workers. Boy, that's fun to think about. What if? What about that? You and Tully.
Yeah, I know. It's funny. I only wrestled one time. And it wasn't good because we both wanted to be the heel.
Yes.
Like it was in Raleigh, North Carolina, because both of us are just average baby faces. But Tully, make no mistake about it, Tully's a great worker, and you know, I'll repeat this as long as I'm asked the question. Tully and I both should be in the Hall of Fame as individuals.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely. I can give you a list of so many guys that don't belong in it where those guys should be. And the fact that they're still part of the business, I think is even more indicative of the fact that they've had this longevity.
You know, one of the things we talk about,
and they contribute.
We've talked a lot about, Ricky Morton and Ricky Steamboat being these perennial baby faces that you couldn't really see as a heel. And I know Ricky tried it once with Alexander York, but people still think about him as the classic baby face.
Yes.
I think Tully is like the classic heel. Could you have ever see him change over to being a baby face? I couldn't even imagine that.
No. He's yeah, it wouldn't have worked for him. It's hard, and that's what made him good. You are who you are.
Right.
I mean, he's very humble and everything now, but when in his day, man, he was an arrogant little prick.
Well, he was. I'll tell you this though: when he first popped up in AEW,
as were we all.
Yes.
Well, as were we all. Sorry, I wasn't singling him out. We were all dicks.
Whenever he opened his mouth, you hated him. I mean, and that was really for me doing these Starcasts over the years. It really took me, sort of caught me off guard. Like, wow, this is like the nicest guy ever. Well, turns out he was just an asshole on TV, or maybe he was in real life back then, but he's not now.
No, the only two guys that weren't assholes were Barry and Luger.
Yeah,
Barry just epitome of a nice guy. Luger, he was our little virgin that we my Larry would never drink. Welcome to the land of sea breezes, Larry Foyle.
Oh my goodness.
Within 2 months, we had him taking off his shirt for going to the club, oiling his arms down. Arn was spraying cologne on him. Larry was
pulling up those guns. Here's the deal, man. He knew it was time to make a change.
Here's our big hurry. Let's go. Get out of that shower. Can I have a bit of ours? come get a cold one. People have
and,
no idea. Oh my God.
and before you knew it, he thought, hey, maybe I need to make a change. And this episode of To Be the Man is presented by Zen Nicotine Pouches, the simpler way to experience nicotine satisfaction and enjoy lasting change on your terms. Zen Nicotine Pouches are a fresher, simpler way to enjoy nicotine. They've helped millions of people achieve lasting change by offering smoke-free and spit-free satisfaction. And Rick, I don't know about you, but there's been times in my life where I felt like I needed to make a change, but I knew I just wasn't ready to make that change yet. I wasn't ready yet. And I'm sure a lot of smokers and dippers out there can relate. Zen understands there isn't just one right time to make a change. Everyone's timeline is a little different. Everyone's on their own journey. So whenever you feel like it's time and you're ready to make that first step towards change, Zen will be there for you with the right strength, with the right flavor at the right time. And if you're thinking about making a change and want to learn more today, check out Zen Nicotine Pouches at zen.com. If you're thinking about making a change and want to learn today, one more time, check out Zen Nicotine Patches at zen.com. That's ZYN.com. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Another question here from Drew Landry. Rick, to be the man, your WrestleMania 18 match, The Undertaker, in my mind, should you have gone over with Arn's Spinebuster? What say you?
Absolutely not. I would never be the one to take down the Undertaker streak. But I'll tell you what, when Arn hit him with that, it was equally as loud as anything else I heard that night. I can't say it was a bigger pop than The Rock and Hulk, but man, when Arn slid in there and gave him that, they thought we had him, and that's all that matters. You know, they thought we had him, and boy, what a curveball.
Is that probably the largest crowd Arn would have performed in front of? I know he wasn't an in-ring performer at that time, but it's a stadium show, a dome show. Well, no, I guess you guys had like 27,000 one. Well, no, that was more. Yeah, I'm just thinking that might be one of the biggest crowds Arn was ever in front of.
That was 60,000 people, wasn't it?
It's unbelievable when you think about how big that was. And really, in hindsight, how short Arn's career was. A real tragedy that it was cut short, so short.
Oh God, I know. It's like Steve Austin, and same thing, neck injury. And people have the nerve to ask me if wrestling's real, even to this day. Some guy sitting across from me says, "That stuff really real?" I don't. I just can't even talk to him. We got, you look at the guys that have suffered broken necks and careers ended, and then I can remember calling Aaron. I was in Montreal wrestling Hogan, and I called Aaron, and he was in the hospital, and he was just screaming. The pain was so bad. And I mean, it's when I cracked C5 and 6 in my neck. I know, I didn't have surgery, but because they didn't have that, what wasn't available at that time. That technology wasn't what it is today. But man, did it hurt! Wow. And I just would get in the ring. I didn't take any time off. I was with the guards, but I would just get in the ring and chop something a couple times and get back out. I didn't do anything for about 2 months. But I was on the marquee, and we went to work no matter what, guys. I'm not kidding you.
68,237 fans there for WrestleMania 18. So yeah, I think that might have been, and I know it wasn't a regular match, but
yeah,
big moment for Arn for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
FH89 writes, "Hey Rick, as a big fan of yourself and Bret Hart, I always hated hearing about you guys not getting along. Wondering when was the last time you saw Bret, and how do you guys get along these days?"
I saw Bret at WrestleCon. We get along great.
Dave McClay says, "Did you pick Curt to be your final opponent during your first WWE run?" Of course, he's talking about the whole loser leaves town match that you guys had on Raw. Was Mr. Perfect your hand-picked opponent by you, or was that Vince's call?
It was Vince's call, but it's exactly who I would have liked to lose to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know that I think I gave him a shot in the arm, but I mean, Curt was a phenomenal performer, and the storyline that I was the first Raw was me and Tito. Curt got involved. The second Raw ever. I mean, those are historical moments in itself to be on the first Raw,
yeah,
and the second, right? And going back to Atlanta to run into all that bullshit. Jesus. The guy I went to work for was fired before I got there.
Crazy
Bill-
times.
Bill Watts.
Alex Rogers says, whose idea was the
No, then the classic line is, so Ole's the boss, right? So he goes to me. This is typical Ole. So what value do you bring to the company after losing a loser leave town on national TV last night? I said, this motherfucker, what value do I bring? I'm over more than anybody you've got in this company right now and will be for the next 10 years. And I walked next door to Bob Doolin. I said, it's me or him. That's why he doesn't like me. Ole was gone.
oh well.
That's the true story. Bob Do, they said, Ole or me, what a dumbass. What value do I bring after losing? I don't know. Your ratings are 2.1 or 1.1. Who even knows how bad they were? The king
Yeah,
of
WWE was limping along then for sure.
the king of old school. His booking went out when Harley Race. By the way, he never told Harley Race what to do, and he still hasn't beat up the Briscoes.
I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
Now, Jack's 6 feet under, he couldn't beat him up.
Alex Rogers says, whose idea was the I'll never retire speech? I was there live and it was an all-time favorite moment at a live show.
It was Vince's idea in my speech.
Well,
I'll never retire. I'm going to text Vince today and say, I think you and I should have one last encounter at SummerSlam. We deserve it. And before I retire the next day. Vince McMahon against Ric Flair. I'll take the bumps. Vincent punches me. I'll take a blade. We'll drive the crowd crazy. I'll fall on my face. How easy is that?
Well, I think it's a formula. Brad Stanton wants to know, I recently watched you and Magnum at Super Clash 1. What'd you think of the match and the venue? It was Comiskey Park. Did you like wrestling in Comiskey Park? That's a big time deal, right?
Well, that was for Verne.
Yeah.
Or a co-promotion. It was okay. Magnum, I like working with Magnum. He's a good worker. Real good hand. And a great kid.
Doug says, is there video of you from Charlotte in 1992 where you spoke before Reagan? I was there working for Faircloth.
Yeah.
The event was a dud until you came on and saved it. Would love to see it again.
Yeah, I was right there. People forget the people I've met over the years. You know, from the Bushes to Ronald Reagan, Strom Thurmond, Jesse Helms. I mean, you know, whether you like them or didn't like them, I've met some very historical people in the political world.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, how many people can say they went to North Korea?
Yeah, exactly. With Muhammad Ali.
Yeah. Dylan wants to know, when you took that back body drop off the ladder from Matt Hardy during the Money in the Bank match, did you injure your knee?
On TV, I did.
Yeah.
I just know how to work, tell them. That's a lost art.
It is. Don wants to know, as NWA champion, you've traveled to lots of different territories. Which one was your favorite one to work?
Florida. No brainer.
Just because of the
West Palm Beach on Monday, Tampa Tuesday, Cowboys Tuesday night, TV Wednesday morning, Miami Beach Wednesday night, Thursday Jacksonville, Friday Sarasota, back to Tampa, Sunday the Bayfront Center, back to Tampa, party all night, or Saturday, Sunday Orlando, drink all the way back from Orlando, and gone the next day, Monday, to another territory.
Dave McClay says,
I did not sleep a lot in Florida.
No, you were having fun every night. Every day you're at the beach, you're in good weather. Come on.
Exactly.
I wonder why you're in Tampa now. I wonder why.
Forget the beach. I was at the Yucatan Liquor Stand, the Ocean Club, and the Dollhouse with Joe and Dino. Two of your friends.
Well, there's that.
And that's why you need to stay in Huntsville.
Mrs. Thompson agrees. She agrees.
We're ever gonna have her as a guest on the show.
Yeah, we can make that happen.
This is stupid.
Can you imagine how long would she last? Would she make it to their first commercial? I don't know.
Yeah, what get her and Ashley together to shoot on me?
Yeah, you really want to roast come the 29th. Let's just get the kids and wives up there and just let everybody else sit in the front row.
Hey, my friend Dave Burkhoff called me this morning. He's bringing 8 people, buying the biggest table he can get, and
I love it.
he's the guy that like is worth $500 million. He's the guy that created MRI.
Oh,
MRI.
wow.
Yeah, Dave's coming.
That's awesome.
He said, we're coming to support. How much or where we're going? I said, I'll have his wife and Kelly are friends, so I'm having Kelly do all that.
Dave McClay says, why is it that you called the NWO the worst faction in the history of the business on the Legends of Wrestling roundtable discussion when you guys talked about factions?
Because I was mad. I was mad because it's just something set out of anger. They actually were a great faction. It's got nothing to do with anybody. It had nothing to do with the individuals. But the truth is, they just kind of took over the company and did what they wanted to do, and the boss let them do it.
Well, I've also heard you say over the years, and maybe this wasn't even on a show. I think it may have just been you and I talking, that a cool heel cuts the legs out from under the babyface. And so, like, when they became the cool heel, it sort of made WCW kind of lame. And then when, you know, the Horsemen didn't overcome the NWO at War Games and instead they smashed your head, it was like North Carolina was done for WCW.
North Carolina was done.
Yeah.
They've never drawn a house since.
Yeah.
So, but that's Eric's call, you know, wasn't NWO, but Eric, you know, and also what I say is that I mean, just out of curiosity, this will be debated forever. How does a company of that magnitude go out of business?
Yeah.
How? The wrestlers are running the company.
Yeah.
And the boss is going along with it.
I know one of the things you and I talked about specifically once upon a time is the Horseman parody. So you guys had this big magical moment where Curt is receiving Arn's spot, and it's a very powerful promo from Arn. Awesome. The next week, the NWO essentially pisses all over it, does a big spoof. But at the end of that segment, shouldn't the Horsemen have came down and just beat the shit out of the NWO? Wouldn't that have made sense?
We not only didn't get the jump on him, we didn't even get a promo.
Right.
I hate to say it, but thanks, Eric.
Yeah.
You know whose idea that was?
Terry Taylor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be cool. Well, ask Arn how cool it was.
Yeah. I mean, I understand there was some hurt feelings.
I was really crying because that's how much Arn meant to me.
Yeah.
No, I'm not ashamed to admit it. At that point in my life, I was broken anyway. So I wasn't afraid to be emotional. I wasn't trying to be emotional. It just was that great. And then they made a joke out of it.
Yeah.
I heard Hennig walk into the locker room and started laughing afterwards. So that's too bad for him.
Yeah. T Nice wants to know what really happened with you and the fans at Harrisonburg High School in the early days of Jim Crockett. I was a kid and heard that you fought a fan after they attacked Greg Valentine, and then the fans smashed the windows on your Cadillac. Any of that true or just a vicious rumor?
It's absolutely true. It's the last time I'm sticking up for Valentine. No, we had a full-on fight. About 5 of them against me and Greg, but we won. But by the time I got out of the locker room, all my windows were gone on my Eldorado.
Oh my God.
Harrisonburg, the home of Ralph Sampson.
Wow.
That's where James Madison University is.
Here's one I know you're going to love answering. Mitchell Barnett wants to know. Seriously,
the fans in the old days did not mess around. And half the time the cops were fans. So they weren't of any help. We're probably lucky we didn't go to jail for kicking ass.
Yeah. Do you think the cops let it go because they thought it was just part of the show?
No, I think they let it go because it was, just would have been a melee that everybody be pointing fingers. It's like, believe it or not, the night that Ole got cut from
Yeah.
here, cut his wrist trying to block it from here to his lower abdomen, right to his groin. They put Ole in jail, not the guy that did it.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, the fans ran it.
And I think as the story goes, because it's become a legendary story, I guess, in that area, former friend of the show, because sadly she's passed away, Miss Peggy, she was there to like help hold some pressure on Ole just until some.
Yeah.
Right?
He fell apart like a slab of meat.
Yeah.
No shit.
Unbelievable. Let's talk about some happier times. Mitchell Barnett wants to know, seriously, how great is it to be Ric Flair? From the outside looking in, it's got to be one of the top 5 best lifestyles in the history of, well, mankind, probably. I guess that's why you're the man. It has not sucked being Ric Flair, has it, Rick?
Overall, no. I've had my moments. Overall, it's been great, but I mean, I've had some ups and downs, and I'm not ashamed to admit it, but right now my life couldn't be better. And man, I'm minding my P's and Q's.
You really are. I mean, that's the thing. I think
Nobody gets it. I've really settled down.
you have.
I have. I talk now, but I don't very little.
You're not closing the bar down, and the only time there's a scene in a restaurant is when it turns into a meet and greet. I've been with.
Yeah, no, I go upstairs at 10:00.
You do.
The other night after I saw you at Dino's birthday party, I had those 2 plates of food.
Yeah.
Kelly drove us back. I mean, I was so tired. I just crawled upstairs at 8:00 and went to sleep. I was so tired from the week between filming with you and the WWE thing. And boy, if I cried on that, wait till they wait till they hear that baby. They wanted full on Ric Flair. I gave it to them.
Can't wait.
Yeah, you'll love it. There were some receipts in that one. I might only have one more chance to give them, and I gave them.
Yeah, I heard a few of those, and it'll be interesting to see what makes air there. Let's just say that.
Well, they promised me. I said, I'm not going to say it if you guys aren't going to play it. That was the deal. That Tom Rinaldi is a hell of a guy, man.
Yeah.
He asked me some incredible questions. What is the good? This is something we should talk about now. So one of the last questions he asked me said, so how many times is it really that you've been world champion, crowned world champion? And I said 21. He said, lay them out for me. I said, okay, Jack Veneno, Santo Domingo, twice. Victor Jovica, in Trinidad, once. Harley in New Zealand, once. That's 5, right?
Jovica, Veneno twice, Harley, that's 4.
20. Oh, no. And the one was Sting and me. I take it back. The one with Sting and I to get the belt off. Remember we had 2 champions in WCW?
Yep.
They didn't count that. Sorry, that's 21.
And this was crazy when he back in
when Curt's talking about someone breaking my record, it'll be a while. So I'm happy with 16, but it's funny.
Oh, wait, you forgot Carlos Colon.
Oh, Carlos Colon, yeah.
Yeah, so Jack Veneno, Carlos Colon, Victor Jovica. Yeah, there's a handful in there they don't recognize for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm happy with the 16 times, but I'm telling you, I was so that was some terrifying. We're talking about wrestling in the South being rough, wrestling in the islands. I was the first white guy to go down there, and Carlos had me, actually me and the Funks, but and Abdullah, but me first in the championship picture. those fans down there were just insane. I mean, they just, but San Domingo is a militarized state, I guess they call it, right? And the guys, the police are fans. God, the guy pointed a 45 right, put it right to Roddy Piper's head when he tripped him. I mean, yeah, not to the fans, to Roddy. Then they tore the building down. They the first time they burned it down, and the second time they took the mortar out. And they didn't burn it down. I mean, they set it on fire.
Yeah.
Second time they knocked on a wall.
My goodness.
Yeah, I mean,
Let's cut the place where
and nobody speaks English. It's not fun. That's why I'm glad George Napolitano's coming to the roast and all that. George was in San Domingo with me. He can tell you that natives were restless.
the idea of being a heel with that much heat makes me think you need life insurance. Go to goliathlife.com right now. Get a quick quote from 20 different carriers. Think about how much time that's going to save you. It's going to make it easy. You pick your terms, you pick your payment, you pick your price. And life insurance is not about you. It's about your family and providing peace of mind for you. Because what's going to happen to them without your income? You don't want to think about that. You want to know everything's taken care of thanks to goliathlife.com. Here's another one here. Matt wants to know, why, Rick, did you always stay clean shaven throughout your career? That's interesting. We never saw Ric Flair with a beard. Why not?
I don't know. I just found that comfort zone. And I had a Joe Namath mustache for a while when I first started.
Yeah.
And I just and then I did that what do you call it, that half shaven look for a while back in the 80s, but I don't know, I just like being clean shaven.
Here's what I know you're going to love. Joseph Walters wants to know, what are your top 3 favorite Charlotte matches?
Well, there's got to be the ones with Sasha and she's had 2 incredible matches with Sasha, and then I loved the I Quit match with Ronda, and I loved the match they had the first time they wrestled when Becky
When she was out. Yeah. She beat the shit out of her with the stick.
Yeah. And I so much respect for all the girls, but I'm asking me my favorite. The one with Sasha where they were in that cage, and I was sitting there backstage watching. I didn't know what they were doing, and it looked like Sasha got hurt before the match started. Do you remember that?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, what a match that was. I mean, incredible.
Hell in a Cell, right?
Yeah, but somehow they did something where it looked like Sasha got hurt in the beginning, and then they went back in. What a match! I mean, geez, they have Steamboat Flair chemistry.
I liked the one.
There's so much more left in that storyline between those two.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
When Sasha beat
I hope it works out that she comes back.
Oh, absolutely, me too. But when Sasha beat Charlotte in Charlotte for the title and like had her bent over the rail in the stands, that was just a couple rows down from Beth. And it was such a cool visual. That was a really fun match.
When Charlotte beat Sasha?
Sasha beat Charlotte on Raw in the main event in Charlotte.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they had all kinds of weapons in that one too. But man, that was an unbelievable match.
Yeah, they just have unbelievable chemistry.
Yeah, and I think it was Jim Ross I heard in 2013, or maybe it was 2014. He said Sasha Banks and Charlotte Flair are a modern day Flair Steamboat, and I think they lived up to that. Like they had some fantastic matches.
Oh, absolutely. I didn't mean to exclude Naomi. I hope Naomi comes back too. She's
of course,
very talented girl, but everybody overreacts. You think, oh God, but calmer heads usually prevail, and Vince always thinks things out. I'm sure he was really upset at the minute, but he's too smart to let those 2 girls get away.
Yeah,
and the locker room will just have to accept it. Sorry. Sorry. It's always about they got heat in the locker room. Okay, what's the locker room? Change it every day. And by the way, if you got heat, say it to their face.
So listen, there's been a lot of people talking about the heat that is MJF, and people want to know, what was real, what wasn't. Is it a work? Is it a shoot? And you were in some of those pretty tense moments once upon a time with Eric Bischoff. You've seen it all. What'd you think of that?
Well, I know for a fact with me and Eric, it was a shoot. Especially when I came back in Greenville, I was a shoot. We agreed to get along now, but I just can't imagine, and I think I told you this, I can't imagine if it being a work that Tony would ever let a wrestler in a company talk to him like that. So
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is. I don't know whether it's a work or a shoot. I guess we'll find out Wednesday if he's there Wednesday or not, because he's a vital part of. He's a very vital part of the show. So I'm sure with the money issue, I'm sure Tony can fix that.
Oh, of course he can. What I like about it is people are talking about it, and when wrestling fans can gravitate to something. And I mean, you and I were together certain places, we won't say where, this past week, and multiple times people would say, "Hey, what about this MJF thing?"
Yeah.
It's what everybody's talking about. So if the idea is let's get people talking, mission accomplished.
The business needs that.
Yes.
Yeah.
It absolutely.
I used to be able to go nowhere and hear about wrestling. And then they say, well, nobody's watching because of the playoffs. Well, that's it's insanely difficult to maintain storylines that move people enough to keep it in the mainstream conversation of life.
Yeah.
And those storylines are hard to find. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, and that's why those writers, and God bless them, and Vince and Tony and whoever, spend countless hours thinking just like you and I do. You do 5 podcasts a week, I mean, I'm just doing this. I've been answering questions.
Yeah.
But I'm putting a lot of time personally now into getting ready for this match in Nashville, which is taking not a physical toll on me, but I'm tired all the time. I still make it out for a beer at 5.
Here, let's skip to a wrestling question here. This is from @wrestling question. If you were creating a group and there were only 4 people left on Earth, you and Jeff Jarrett are 2 of them, why would Jeff still not be a horseman? That's so great. I love that. This is the thing that keeps on giving, man.
I don't know. No, absolutely. Jeff could have been a horseman. Jeff's a hell of a worker and everything. I don't even, it's funny. I don't remember that though. I swear to God, I don't remember Jeff ever being a horseman. And I mean, I can name all the guys I had in there. I don't remember him ever being one.
Because he wasn't. There it is.
Yeah.
DM wants to know, if you never discovered wrestling, what would you have done? And what are you most proud of in your career? And what are you most proud of outside of wrestling?
Outside of wrestling, it would be my 2 daughters.
Well, there you
go. Megan and Ashley and their success. Personally, boating, fishing, having fun, hanging out with you when you're allowed, hanging out with Dino and Joe. I like being on the road, signing autographs. I'm always going to want to travel. I'm never going to be able to just sit home. So people are stuck with me in that capacity. And I love, it's something I'm going to love. I love to watch the wrestling. I like to, sometimes I want to say things that I get in trouble for, but make comments on things, but it's not worth it. I even call you sometimes and ask you what you think. You say absolutely not. I say, can I tweet this guy? And you say, no, absolutely not.
I'm just trying to look out.
That's why I can't work Twitter myself.
Amen to that. Roll Tide to that. And that's why I always recommend that you start your day with AG1. I recently started taking athletic greens. Well, because my wife made me. Guys, this is a real story. My wife Megan's been using athletic greens long before they were a sponsor here on the show because she cared about better gut health. She wanted more energy. She wanted to optimize her immune system. She hated taking pills or vitamins. She wanted a supplement that would actually taste great. And that's why she's doing one delicious scoop of AG1 every day, every morning. That's all it takes. One scoop and a cup of water, and you're good to go. You'll be absorbing 75 high quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens. It's going to help you start your day right. It's going to help you take care of your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, your focus, your aging, all the things. And this is a real deal, guys. Don't take mine and Rick's word for it. Athletic Greens has more than 7,000 5-star reviews. And with AG1, you're really investing in an all-in-one nutritional insurance. It's cheaper than what you've been spending on coffee in the morning, I'm sure. And it's lifestyle friendly, whether you're eating keto or paleo or vegan or dairy free or gluten free. It's got less than 1 gram of sugar. It's got no GMOs. It's got no nasty chemicals, no artificial anything, and it still tastes good. It's going to support mental clarity and alertness, better sleep quality and recovery. And right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. Seriously, it's just one scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/Flair. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/Flair to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Got a handful of questions here, and then we'll wrap this one up, Rick. This is a fun one. I know you're going to love this. How much was discussed with your match with Kerry Von Erich in the cage, where the main story was the Freebirds turning on him?
Probably 20 minutes of explanation.
And you guys made magic people are still talking about to this day.
Yeah, it was great. It was I love Michael. I love the Freebirds, and of course the Von Erichs are just phenomenal kids. And that, boy, you talk about wild fans that night too. I mean, that conversation has come up on 3 different occasions, but the fans are riotous that night there. It was a long walk back to the dressing room after that.
We're thinking of our friend Mongo today, and Brandon wants to know, what's your best Mongo story, Rick?
Oh, God. Probably. I don't know. God, I got so many. Oh, God. God, I don't want to talk about a guy that can't defend himself. Let me just put it like this. He was a horseman over and around in every which way. I used to say to him, because Mongo would spend a fortune. He was better at buying drinks than me. And I'd say, Mongo, slow down. I got more money than I got time, kid. As it turned out, you know what I mean? So just a wonderful guy. Probably the best time I ever had with him was he came to spend Christmas with me, Christmas week in Charlotte. He just got divorced, and he was staying at the Park Hotel, or Megan can tell you about it, those Christmas parties I used to have for the gyms. And we had about 300 employees in all 9 gyms. Aerobics instructors galore. It was paradise. And Mongo came downstairs. He was wearing a Santa hat and a Christmas jacket, smoking a cigar and carrying a bottle of Jack Daniels. And he was insulting everybody in the room. And I said, Steve, my bankers are here. I have lawyer friends. And he looked like Dan Aykroyd from Coming Back or Changing Places.
Oh, yeah.
One thing missing was a big slab of salmon.
Yeah.
Shoulder. Oh, he could be brutal. Mongo wasn't shy, baby. Yeah, speaking of Mongo, you're not going to believe this, but he wants to come to Nashville would really excite me.
We would love to have him.
I'm talking to Steve right now about Thuzio. He'd have to come by ambulance, but he really wants to come. So I'm hoping that can work out. Steven and Thuzio, the folks at Thuzio are working on it right now.
Man,
how cool would that be?
How special. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. You forget his wife just texted me, hey, congratulations on that. Mongo really wants to come. And I went, wow. So I called Steven, and Steven said, let's go to work on it. So I think that's a real possibility.
Ryan Grossman wants to know, I recall you mentioning you're from the Twin Cities. I myself am born and raised in St. Paul. Do you ever visit Minneapolis or St. Paul? And what's your favorite place to go when you're in town?
Gosh, I haven't been back in a long time, but yeah, I mean, I love Minneapolis. I don't know St. Paul that well, but I love Minneapolis. I grew up there, and I don't even know what the current bars are now, but I'm sure I'd like them. I like Minneapolis in the summertime. I can't stand it in the winter.
Oh, it's a lot.
I can still remember shoveling my dad out of 6 feet of snow when I was like 6 years old. Ricky, grab the shovel. I got to go to the hospital. Forget that shit. It's like I said, the minute I made my first $1,000, I forgot how to do anything mechanical, including screwing a light bulb. I refused to.
Last one. Michael Cohen wants to know, what was the positive experience, if any, Ric had while briefly working in Impact Wrestling?
None whatsoever. I had fun. I had fun with the guy. Make no mistake, but I mean, I certainly didn't enhance my legacy. if I guess if going down the aisle in a wheelchair, taking a bump. And the best time I had was with Jay Lethal. And
I was gonna say,
yeah, I had great times with Jay Lethal, James Storm, Bobby Roode, AJ. I mean, shit, I had a great time. And I've gotten to be good friends with Chris Abyss, who works for the company now, WWE. Yeah, it's nothing negative. Just my performance level was so sketchy back then. Not sketchy, it was the shits. My level of performance was the shits.
well, people absolutely loved that segment with you and Jay. I still think it's one of the most watched viral clips in Impact Wrestling history. And next week, since we've been seeing some clips of you getting ready for your last match and Jay helping you along with that, I thought, why not go back and relive some of that? It set the internet on fire now, the idea that you're training for a comeback. And back then, man, people just absolutely loved your interaction with Jay. So I'm glad to hear that was a highlight. We'll look at that next week. We'll watch the woo off with you and Lethal and have a little fun next week, man, and talk about Jay Lethal and how much respect you have for him and how excited we are that he's a part of your comeback and helping you get ready, man.
Yeah, we should have him call in.
Well, let's do it. Let's see if we can make that happen, man. It would be a great time to catch up.
I have to go out there today and practice with him again, so I'll ask him.
Well, sounds good, man. Stay tuned, boys and girls. We'll be back next week
on the podcast.
What's that?
We could have a woo off on the podcast.
I'm for it. And maybe even the Macho Man stops by. You never know when Lethal's around.
Dig it.
This is a lot of fun. We'll be back next week, boys and girls, right here on To Be the Man, talking all things Jay Lethal. Gonna have some fun times next week. Don't forget this week, stay tuned online at StarCast Events on social media. Fun stuff coming your way. Nashville, we're headed to you end of July. See you soon.